upset. Seriously. All right, take it away, Kyle.
Okay, thanks. I was thinking his favorite food must be onion rings because he can cook them. Yeah. Okay.
Don't go rogue, dude.
Okay. We're a little lighter today than yesterday. Like I said earlier, at some point here, really quickly, we're going to get together in some small groups. We're going to play with marbles actually today, not Legos, even though it looks like I brought the Lego box. Well, I did bring the Lego box, I just didn't bring the Legos. So, today's session is Experience Personal Kanban, and it's highlights from 6 weeks of teaching and practicing personal Kanban. Has anyone here read Jim Benson's book, Personal Kanban? No? Yes? Maybe? A lot of blank stares, so I assume that means you guys are still just recovering from lunch. So, let me ask you this. How many people in here have used Kanban before? How many people view Kanban as just one approach, one agile approach, like Scrum, like XP? Anyone? It's an alternative to Scrum? Has anybody used Kanban as part of Scrum before? One of the concepts that I want you guys to come away with today is that Kanban actually is the foundation for most of the other agile approaches. If you think about it, many of the other agile approaches adopt some form of Kanban in the processes that they espouse. And so I've been using Kanban for more than a decade without really understanding why. As part of a Scrum team, without even really understanding why. I kind of understand why. Why do we use a Kanban board in Scrum? Who knows? Visualization. Is it just visualization? So, let me talk a little bit about the course that we did. First of all, I'm the organizer and a presenter with the LinkedIn Agile community, which is now known as Agile LNK or Agile Link. One of the things we did this year is we wanted to get more depth in some of the topics that we discuss on a regular basis, and one that we get asked about all the time is Kanban. So what we decided to do was pick a book. We chose Personal Kanban, and spend 6 weeks diving into this book deeply. So as I move forward through the presentation, I'll refer back to that because there's some important lessons that we learned through that, and there's some important examples that I want to discuss with you. But one thing I will say is keep in mind, Kanban is a foundation upon which many other agile approaches are built. The course that we embarked on met once a week one night a week. Let me get that clear. Sorry, for 6 weeks. So it was just 6 sessions. We tried to cover 2 chapters in each session. So it was more than a book club though. We weren't just discussing what happened in the book. We were trying to be hands-on and collaborative. We really wanted to practice Kanban as part of the process. I wanted everyone to come away feeling like they understood that. And today I hope you guys feel that way too. So there's 2 thoughts I want you to come away with today from this presentation. 2 ideas, 2 rules of personal Kanban. And what I consider to be the baseline for any Kanban approach you're going to use. The 2 rules of personal Kanban are visualize your work and limit your work in progress. Is everybody familiar with the term WIP? Can somebody tell me what it means? WIP? Say it again.
Work in progress?
Sure. So what does that mean? Work in progress. Limit your WIP means what? What do we do when we limit our WIP? It's about limiting what you're actively working on, work in progress, right? Okay. I just want to make sure before we use the term WIP pretty casually, and we assume everyone knows what it means. limiting the amount of things you're focusing on for a given point of time. So I'm going to let this roll. We're going to learn about why it's important to visualize your work.
Just dumb. I can't see a thing. Are you feeling anything now? I'm feeling a little bit. I'm feeling the warm wood of this airway. What is it? A little bit of heat. It's you in the car. They all get together. Yeah, now I'm really feeling it. I feel like the car was driving stuff. It could start this car. All right, so right.
It's hard to go wrong with a Talladega Nights clip in the middle of your presentation. Has anybody ever felt like they're driving their project blindfolded before? I mean, you know, that's what I want you guys to think about. What are you using to measure progress and performance on your project? Or your tasks, for that matter. Personal Kanban is based around the idea that you could apply this to your everyday life. And I have, and it's been interesting. So think about that when you look at the work you're trying to get done at home. Maybe you have a big personal project, you're redoing your bathroom, or you're painting the room, which is one of the things I get into doing altogether too often. You're landscaping, but even small things like, I've got 4 kids, every day is a project. Every day has a series of tasks that I need to work on. So we have our gauges on our dashboard, but if we blindfold ourselves, if we don't look at them, then we'll never make progress. We'll never know what progress we're making. So I'm sure you guys have seen before today some of the presentations talks about dashboards, why they're important, how we use them every day. The car dashboards are really, almost everyone has a car here. Almost everyone has driven, I should say. We know what the dashboard is for. We know why we need a fuel gauge. We know why it's important to know what our speed is. We know why it's important to know what the engine temperature is. It helps us measure our progress and adjust to the changing conditions around us. If your engine starts to go hot, what are you going to do? Keep driving? Pull over. One of my favorite ways to think about this is, we use our cell phone every day too. What if the battery indicator on your cell phone was missing? Could you trust it? What would you be doing all the time? Plug it in, whether you need it to or not, right? We get these real-time information radiators all the time. So in the Kanban world, what this allows us to do is quickly and easily visualize the stats of a project. By looking at something like this, we can help us understand where we are, what progress is being made at a glance. We don't have to know. You guys, can anyone read what's on the sticky notes? I'm standing right next to it. I can tell you I can't read it either. But we know that there are, there's an active state, there's a done state, there's a ready state here on the right, on the left-hand side for you guys. We can tell what's going on with this project simply with a glance. So Kanban provides us a dashboard for our tasks. When we compare that to a traditional to-do list, what you see is that you've got this one-dimensional list of things. Now, you can even read what's in each of these to-dos, but you can't tell what state they're in. You know they're done or not done. You can assume all these are not done. But it requires a lot of attention to dig into these things to figure out whether they've got a category that they're supposed to be in. Are all these in the same project? So to-do lists are just one-dimensional, and it can be very difficult to determine the status, the state of tasks and projects by looking at a to-do list. Just to give you another example, how important dashboards are, how important that symbology is. Who can tell me what these signs are? Does anyone know what this first one is here? The what white rectangle with a black around it? Speed limit. How about the red octagon? Well, those two are easy. What about the X down here? The yellow triangle? Red triangle? So, it's really important that you can visualize your work on a Kanban board so that you can quickly tell when things are on track or behind. You can even use a Kanban board to tell what priority things are supposed to be in. So I want to demonstrate this a little bit more clearly to you guys. I know you guys love to play with things. So we're going to do an exercise. I want you guys to get into some groups. I've got 9 sets of marbles. So I'm thinking groups of maybe 6 to 8. Maybe try and keep it closer to 6. Go ahead and push together as tables, just like we did yesterday for the Lego thing. You're going to have to move around a little bit. I'll hand you guys out some marbles. Okay, guys. So, if you're ready, let's get started on exercise 1. All right, let me explain the rules first. All right. Grab, all the tables have sticky notes on them, so everybody grab a sticky note. And we're going to do a little bit of an estimating exercise. Okay? Grab a sticky note. I want you to write down what your estimate is. Take the bag of marbles, open the bag up, and do not pour the marbles out. Open the bag up, do not pour the marbles out. Looking in, estimate. Estimate the number of white marbles. Estimate the number of marble colors. estimate which color has the most marbles. And while we're at it, let's estimate the total number of marbles too. Everybody understand? Open the bag up, do not empty the marbles. Looking into the bag, estimate the number of white marbles, the number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and while we're at it, we'll do a really easy one. We'll estimate the total number of marbles. The total number of marbles. So 4 things. Number of white, number of colors, which color has the most, total number of marbles. Who wants to give me a guess at the total number of marbles? Anybody have a guess? 12, or 16, 12, 20, 14. Anybody count them already? Nope. Okay. I actually don't know the total number of marbles. I'm having a bit of a break on it. Okay. All right. Has everybody got their estimate? Did everybody get a chance to look? Is anybody still needing to do their estimate before we move on? I don't want to leave anyone behind. Okay.
Right, you gotta.
All right, are we ready to move on?
Number of different colors.
Are we ready to move on? Anybody still estimating? Okay. Let's go to exercise number 2. This time, we're going to do the same estimating exercise, but I want you to take the marbles and I want you to pour them into one of the cups. Pour the marbles into one of the cups. Pass the cup around. Same estimates. Estimate now the number of white marbles, the number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and the total number of marbles. Anybody have any questions? We're doing good? Pass the cup around, make sure everybody gets a chance to look at it. Pass the cup around, make sure everybody gets a chance to look at it. Number of white marbles, total number of colored marbles, total number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and total number of marbles. Who's still estimating? Anybody still estimating? Okay. So, another minute. Okay, anybody still estimating now? You ready to go on to the next exercise? Okay, good. Exercise number 3. I want you to take the marbles and I want you to organize the marbles by color into each one of the 4 cups that you've got, or however many cups you need. Organize them by color. Organize them by color. Once you have all the colors separated out, I want you to repeat the estimate. Repeat the estimate. Estimate now the number of white marbles, the number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and the total number of marbles. Estimate the number of white marbles, the number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and the total number of marbles. Is this still working? Anybody still estimating? A lot of talking going on. Anybody still estimating? All right, guys. what do we notice as we progress through about our estimates? Did anybody get the total number of marbles right out of the gate? Good. Did anybody get the number of white marbles right out of the gate?
You did.
Okay. Did anybody guess the total number of marbles, I'm sorry, the number of marble colors right out of the gate? Okay. Did anybody guess which had the most marbles, which color had the most right out of the gate? So some of you did. So now, let me ask you this. Were your estimates better the first try, or were they better the second try? Were they better the second try, or were they better the third try? Why are they better in the third try than on the first try? You can visualize it, right? This is a pretty simple deal. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. When you look into a bag of marbles, like I had you do, I believe that is like unplanned work. You've got a series of things that you know you need to do. This is like my wife says, you guys need to clean the kitchen. All right? Yeah, sure, I kind of know what that means. Clean the kitchen. This is what happens when you go to a developer and you say, how long is that thing going to take? How long will that form take to build? The developer says, I don't know, a week. The second, when we have it in the cup, that's more like a to-do list. You can see everything, but it's hard to see the details. Like, for instance, it'd be kind of hard to count the number of white marbles in there, maybe, depending on how they're organized. The third one we did is obviously it's a Kanban one. So keep this in mind. I mean, if you're at work and you go and you ask somebody how long it's going to take them to do something, they're going to be able to estimate about as well as you could when you look at that bag of marbles. Okay? This is a really important reason why we want to break our work out and visualize it. And looking at the last one, I mean, you can look at a glance and know how many white marbles there are, right? It doesn't take a lot of effort. You can look at a glance in the last example, last exercise, and know well, how many colors there are. It doesn't take a whole lot. Did anybody have trouble counting, looking into the bag and discerning the white marbles from the white marbles with the coloring on? Right? It's hard because that's the way our projects are. When we look in, we forget to, account for reports or testing. Who forgets to estimate testing? I mean, every developer, by the way, forgets to estimate testing. They also intentionally forget to estimate the documentation. Okay, I'm an ex-developer, I can say that. If I weren't, that would be some sort of discrimination, I'm sure. So, as we go forward, we're going to do some more exercises here. As we go forward, remember how important visualization is in quickly breaking tasks into pieces that you can prioritize and estimate. Okay? So, that was rule 1. Visualize your work. What was rule 2? Limit width, okay? Limit your work in progress. So, limiting width helps us improve our focus, and that's a really important thing. Because when you're unfocused, it's very difficult. Who knows about task switching with the price that you pay for constantly changing focus? When we switch context, it's what, 15, the common rule, what, 15 minutes to get back on task? 23, okay. Exactly. Does Chris talk about that this morning? The biggest thing that WIP helps us do is, I love this, stop starting and start finishing. It helps us finish the work that we're starting. And if anybody has ever worked on an application development project, they know how important this is, because finishing, knowing what's done is super important. Because if you don't get it done, if you have partially completed stuff, it turns into a complete nightmare when you go to put that stuff in production. It's the same as at home. If I don't finish cleaning the counters before I finish sweeping, what's going to happen? I'm going to have to sweep again because my kids are they never wipe the counters off and save the crumbs. They just push them on the floor, right? Okay. So I want to get right into the next exercise. We're going to limit width. Exercise 1. Are you guys ready? Take all the marbles, put them into one bucket, please. Now, the overall rules for this exercise, all three of these exercises are this. Each marble in the last cup, because we're going to move the marbles from cup to cup, each marble in the last cup is worth 1 point. You must have all of the marbles of a particular color in that cup in order to get points. So how many white marbles were there? 4. So if you get all 4 white marbles in the last cup, you get 4 points. If you get 3 marbles in the last cup, how many points do you get? 0. Thank you. None. All right, are you ready to start exercise 1? You have 40 seconds to complete the objective. You may only move 1 marble at a time. You cannot dump marbles from one cup to the next cup. Assign a team member to each of the 3 cups that don't have marbles in them right now. Okay? So assign this 3 of your team members are going to do this. Now I'm going to ask you to rotate in the next exercise. I want everyone to kind of get a chance. So pick 3 members of your team to man each of the cups that do not have marbles in them. All right, guys. We're going to start again. I'm not going to do too much planning here. Just remember, marbles must move 1 at a time from cup to cup. What's that? Yeah. Only that in order to get points. In order to get points, you have to have all the marbles in one color. All right. Quiet down. You guys are doing a lot of planning. Successive cups have no whip limit. As fast as you possibly can, move all of the marbles from one cup to the next. You may only move 1 marble at a time. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As fast as you can. Hurry up. As fast as you can. 40 seconds. You may want to How many got all the marbles moved? I saw a couple of teams thinking ahead and limiting their whip on their own. So that was good practice. Okay? All right, you ready for the next exercise?
Oh, wait, summary.
Yes.
Say again. I don't think they're understanding.
What's that?
You said your last statement. Just repeat it.
My last statement, which was what? So, yeah.
Expand on that.
What he's about to.
So there was intentionally no lip limit. No width limit on this exercise. All right, that meant you could put as many cups into any bucket as you wanted to as you were going for it. Now some teams intentionally limited how many marbles they were moving at a time. And you'll see why that's important as we go forward, because we're going to do more about the width limit here as we move forward. All right. So in the next exercise, we're going to do a width limit of 3, which means that you can have no more than 3 marbles in any cup. If the cup that you're trying to drop a marble in has 3 marbles in it, then you have to wait until somebody takes a marble out of that cup. Does that make sense? So any cup that you're moving marbles to, you never have more than 3 marbles in it at a time. Yeah, you're going to start over. Go ahead and change. Second, go ahead and change team members who are manning the cups. Yes, question. What's that? Yes. I know, I read it wrong. We had a final exercise before we got done. So this help reduce the amount of confusion. Anybody have that? Still just as confusing for you guys? Still just as confusing? So the idea is that reducing the focus helps things move a little bit more smoothly. Now, I think we had, what about, all but two of the teams I think made it last time. We had two teams I think made it last time. All but two made it this time. So we're going to do the exercise one more time. Marbles back in the front. Or just move it back up to the front. It's up to you, however you want to do it. Go ahead and make sure everybody has gotten a chance to participate. So if you haven't had a chance to move marble, go ahead and jump in. It's your turn now. So exercise number 3 works just like exercise number 2. Except that this time our weight limit is 1. You can never have more than 1 marble in the middle 2 cups at a time. Alright? So before you can drop another marble into the cups in front of you, that cup must be empty. Make sense? Question? Weight limit? Gotcha. Weight limit of 1? You guys got it? Alright. Are you guys ready to start? You guys ready to start? Same 40 seconds. Here we go. Ready, go. 1 marble at a time. Show of hands real quick. How many teams got all the marbles done? How many teams got all the marbles done? You guys did okay? So, did anybody find that limiting width to 1 made things less confusing than 3 or than none? The idea here is, as you do 1, all you got to do is focus on what? The one thing. You don't have to fish around for any marbles. You don't have to worry about what else they are. Just moving them. Now, let me ask you guys. If I told you that the white marbles were worth 4 points instead of 1 point, would that change how you approach this? Because even if you get them all done, you're going to make sure you get the white ones done first, right? Okay. One of the things that visualizing your work does is really helps you to see which ones you want to move. It helps your customers identify those that are more important. So when you combine visualizing your work with limiting your work in progress, by breaking your work down, it makes you more flexible. It makes it easier to adapt. And that's personal Kanban. Does that make sense? Good. Was anybody surprised that the width limit of 1 worked better than the width limit of none? No width limit? All right, guys. So I'm going to talk. Go ahead and go back to your seats now if you want to. Hey, pack the marbles up for me. Those are not party gifts. I like these back. They're pretty pricey. Pack the marbles up for me. Go ahead and turn your seats. I like you guys pushing those tables together like that. Okay guys, so I'm going to go on and talk a little bit more about how this class went, how this course went that we taught, and talk about some lessons that we learned when we went through the book Personal Kanban. As I said before, we kind of worked in 1-week iterations, once a week for 6 weeks. The goal was to experience Kanban, so we actually created Kanban boards as part of the process. We did this exercise that you guys just went through as well. We created Kanban boards as part of the process and started applying personal Kanban. So you guys are gonna have a little bit of a tough time seeing this, some of you, I think, but these are my Kanban boards I created. We took a poster board, we, got rulers and pens, and we drew on it. Here's the thing though, in this one on this side, you can see this is all the tasks. This was just my home stuff. And we focused on personal stuff versus work stuff can get pretty complicated pretty quickly. So we said, let's just focus on some project you can have at home. And I will tell you guys, that when I put my Kanban board together, this is just a physical board, and I started writing sticky notes out. Things that were on there were, paint the bathroom, there were, do some laundry, I got a silly large amount of laundry. It was get a repairman to fix a door that we were having a problem with. So all these kinds of things at home. I was stunned how many notes I put together. I mean, it was cathartic. I wrote all these notes out and I went, gosh, no wonder I feel like I can never get on top of my life at home. Because I got a lot going on. As I started to prioritize and organize, some things started to become clear winners. And you can see here on the right side, as I started to organize, there's still lots of stuff on the left side, but there's a lot of done stuff here on the right side. And let me tell you, it felt good to move through there and figure out what I could accomplish.